Hi, welcome to 2020 Tasty Treats with GourmetQuilter. I'm Susan Clare, GourmetQuilter, and we are working at the moment on one of our tasty treats, which is 20 dog appliques. So there's a picture up here of all the 20 dogs. We've already done dog number one. Number one dog, that's pretty good. We're up to dog number two. So the pattern download will look like this. Everything's ready for tracing. There's a few small parts. Some of these dogs have small parts. So I've gone ahead and I've got everything cut out with the fusible web on. I've got my light box here ready for doing some markings. If you saw part one, you'd have seen that I'm tracing through any lines and things that are indicated on the pattern so that we know where to stitch, because these are stitching lines that do that. Rather than cutting everything as a separate shape, we can make some of it look like it's separate by having stitching lines. So we need to mark his eye, and I'm going to do all of that now before we go ahead to the fabric. So I've got my permanent black marking pen, and I'm going to mark actually his nose first and just fill that in with this black. This is permanent on fabric. They're very fine, so just do it just gently, just a light application. You don't want to press too hard because these pens don't like to have anything too heavy. I've already gone ahead with my pencil and marked any that are just stitching lines. He's got a little mouth here, he's got a little under his jaw there. I've also marked, he's got a patch over one eye, and the eye actually will sit on top of the patch. So I've marked where the patch goes, but I'm going to mark the eye itself onto the patch. So I'm going to give him some whites in his eye. So I've got my white gel pen here, and I'm just filling it in. Now you may need to go over this a couple of times just to make it stand out. I have already done one time on here, so you can see it is there, but it's a little bit fainter than I would like. So I'm just going to go over it a second time, just so that it comes up a little bit brighter white, and just the white area, and then I'm going to come and do the black as well. So this little guy here has a nice black eyeball in here, and also I'm just going to outline the eye with the black, just a fine line. And this is kind of fun to do this sort of thing because it gives you a whole lot more scope for doing some tiny details. You could just stitch them, you could embroider them, you could applique them. There's a whole lot of things you could do, and I have chosen to do mine this way, so I thought I'd show you how I do it. So I'm just outlining there, and then I'm just going to fill in that little eyeball. And you could always come back again and do another going over if you felt it needed it, because sometimes it takes a little bit of building up of a layer, particularly onto colours. So I'm going to now position that where it goes on here. He's got a little patch over one eye. This is very cute, this little dog. Not a dog breed person, but I've seen dogs that look a bit like this. So hopefully he's happy looking like this. So now on the shapes to trace, the pieces are all numbered, and they're usually numbered in an order of where they sit underneath other things. So you may not, so piece number one, for instance, is his front leg. Well, I'm not going to just put it down until I've got this piece in position, but I know it needs to underlap this piece. So I'm going to get this one on first because it's kind of the main one for positioning and things like that. Just keep an eye, your distances side to side, and where you want it to go. So that's looking pretty good, and so now I can come and put piece number one so that it just underlaps. That's his front leg, it's a different colour. Probably needs to come back a little bit. Sometimes you just got to play around till you're happy with the position, and I have to say dogs don't stand still a lot very often. Now he's got a patch on his back, so we can pop that on there. He's also got a tail that needs to just sit underneath there. And he's got a couple of ears. Now this little ear is the back ear, so that just needs to underlap the top of his head there, because it would be coming out from behind there. And this ear sits just on the front. So it's just a matter of keeping a perspective, if you were to look at something and you can see that the head, top of a head is in front of an ear and things. So if we assemble them with that sort of perspective in mind, it helps a lot with how things look at the end. Oh, I think we're all done. No, he's got a collar somewhere. Where did that go? There it is. It's usually on my sleeve. Fix it up when I'm moving around. So I can position all that, and then he can have this nice bright blue collar. He's very, very proud of his collar. He likes that. And I think he's looking pretty good. So I'm going to iron him in place. And now we need to go to the sewing machine. I think that is looking good. I'm just going to pop my cotton batting behind as my stabilizer. I've got my machine set up for free motion with a dark grey thread in it. And I think I'm going to start, I might do his collar first and come around and then go around the main dog body. So I can now just skip straight onto the body there. Just going to snip that thread off, doesn't get in my way. And then I'm going to go around that patch. So I'll just go past it and then back onto it and around. You do need to stitch around, even though it's all fused on, you need to stitch all the edges, and then I'm going to come along that back edge again. And I'll do the same thing here with the tail. And then come round. Just stitch along those lines that we marked, and I come back along those. By doing the double line and stitching, it does help emphasize that line a little bit. So this is really much the same now. Now this is part of his front coming under here. So I'll keep going. I think you've got the hang of that now, and I'll come back and show you how I'm doing the head. So I've just come on, I've kept coming past the collar, and I've just come up to his little jawline there. So I'm just going to stitch that in and then follow around here. But he's also got a smiling mouth. Some dogs are just happy, aren't they? And then we're just going to follow around. Come back and do his ear here. And we're just about done. So I'm just going to have to stop and start quickly because we need to do the little patch on his face there. So we will need to stop and start that as a fresh piece, but it's not going to take very long. Now I think we have got one very happy, possibly cheeky, little puppy here. So we'll give him a little press and we'll pop him up as dog number 2 up here in our dog gallery. Look at that, 2 dogs already. We're going to have a pack of them shortly. So that was Applique dogs number 2, and I will see you again with Applique number 3.